All right, we're here, Curt and Preeti, Maya for Life Convo Dating. We are here to give our expert opinions and snarky comments on Love is Blind UK. The 9th episode, we're getting ready. And at the end, we tell you who we think's actually going to get stood up at the altar and who's going to say yes.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get started.
Something.
I don't want to go into the details. Probably seen that little bit of good that might be there and just want to get rid of the situation and move on.
All right, we can all agree that we can't stand Sam. Sam is the most insincere person I've ever seen on reality TV, and that's a pretty tough shoe to fill.
What are you talking about, Preeti? Trust me.
Just say.
No one's ever given me a chance. No one's ever loved me. Trust me.
Yeah.
You think there's some work to be done there? Yes.
What? And he called her eyes boring brown. You're like, what? Like, oh my God. Like, just incredibly self-absorbed. I mean, I would love to have some compassion for Sam, but I gotta dig real deep on this one because he's easily hateable.
Yeah, but remember when he walked out to meet her for the first time and seen her, he goes, like what you see? What do you think? Like,
all about him. Like, I mean, I don't want to throw around the word narcissist because we don't really know him, but he doesn't show any kind of ability to empathize or actually even relate to another human being. Everything is really from his point of view and his experience and what he's feeling and what he wants other people to see of him, how he's coming off. And it's nauseating.
Remember, when someone tells you over and over to do something, it means there's an implied understanding or feeling it's not being done. So when someone tells you, trust me over and over, he knows there's not trust. There's a reason that people aren't trusting him, and he has to tell you verbally to please trust me. So not the most trustworthy guy right off the bat.
And the other thing we knew about Sam very early on was that he's had all this plastic surgery done. So he's, there's probably deep insecurity, and maybe that's where the compassion can come for him, that there's something that has happened to Sam in his life that has caused him pain, that has made him, that this is the result of deep self-loathing. It comes off in this really awful way where you don't like this person, but possibly it's really pain underneath all of that.
And this is Benai Benihana cutting her, though. He's brought up, I went to Germany and I was crushed. And let's talk about Sam with his mother and sister for the first time there. So he's getting his kicks in now. He's kicking her a little bit right now and getting it up.
I mean, I think he's very close to his family. This is a gigantic decision that they want everyone on board with. And so maybe this is what it looks like to accelerate a relationship to the point where you're trying to get the family on board and it all has to happen on camera in this one tea that they're having in the afternoon. Like it's I don't know. It's definitely not the real world, right?
True. That's true. So, all right, roll it.
On, isn't it? And then
maybe you should do the same. Move on from it.
Yeah. You learn more. We learn so much from those conflicts.
You can only get stronger from it, really.
Exactly. We're both very, I think. Yeah.
Why do you get in trouble as a man for telling the truth there? Or do you think this? To tell the truth, yes. Oh, and now he's buried. At this show, every time a guy tells the truth, he gets buried.
Yeah, so I think that she's really triggered. Well, she's triggered by everything. Let's just get that out of the way. Cat is not someone who has learned how to take any level of criticism, and she takes it all very, very personally, and she feels affronted. Him calling her high maintenance. If you called me high maintenance, which you are welcome to do, I would think it was hilarious because I can be high maintenance. That is absolutely the truth. There are times where I am very particular about certain things, and there are other times that I'm a total slob. Like, we are not all just one thing, right? And I don't know. I think being comfortable in your skin and knowing who you are and letting other people see the real you and not feeling judged when somebody just sort of makes an observation. Like, I don't actually even think he was saying like you're high maintenance and that's a bad thing. He was like, it's just sort of a thing. Part of
he didn't hammer her with it as a cut. He's just like, yeah, a little bit here and there. Like, he even said a little bit just to like take the edge off. And she's gone. Her eyes got squintier and she's not happy. Let's go.
I do worry that our lifestyles are a little bit different.
Is that okay though? Just because if say you think Cat is like that way, is that okay?
No, I don't think so, because I think that I would not satisfy her. Well, really like stuff you say sometimes. I know you said, oh yeah, I've been here, I've been there. And
I'm not good enough, right? That's like the third time. We'll go over other episodes. I won't be able to satisfy her because she's a little high maintenance. Now, all of a sudden, it's his fault. It's on him. Maya.
That's gaslighting. Like he's gaslighting her because he's going to dump her at the altar, and he wants her to know that it's not because she's a bad person. It's because, you know, he just can't live up to her expectations. What is that? Where's the
Possibly.
gaslighting?
Yeah, because this isn't the first time that he's become the victim, or he's become the I'm not good enough. And then
Yeah.
I know Kat said it, or maybe coming up or in a different episode too. But this whole thing about I'm not good enough for somebody, that's a whole Maya course right there. So let's see how. And Freddie never lashes out. This is his version of lashing out. He's doing it very gently, and it's still hurting her.
It is hurting her, but they both have said multiple times that they're not good enough. So it's actually something that they share in common that, you know, is also something that we can help at combo dating. Like, why don't you feel good enough? Everyone's good enough, but not knowing that you're good enough and not knowing your value and your worth is not going to help you in a relationship. It's not going to help you find, achieve, and maintain a healthy relationship with anybody.
Yep.
And I've been to this club and I've done this. I've been to Ocean Beach.
And it's starting to piss me off.
That's her other line. Every time he voices a concern, every time he feels uncomfortable and he says, I'm uncomfortable with this thing. And he's saying, because I don't know that I fit in your world. I've never dated anybody like you before, which I believe is very sincere on his part. She gets angry. It pisses her off when he tells the truth. That is such an ego-driven, insecure response. And men do it as much as women, but we're seeing it here and it's really not a good look.
So, opinions.
I think he seems like a really nice guy.
If we get married and he's decided he wants a prenup,
Really?
really? Should I be worried?
I think it's a bit controlling.
That's a great job by mom, because she may not act. She may have some feelings of anger, and because it hurt her son so bad. But what he needs to hear, and she sees how happy he is, she's putting that aside because she knows how important it is to him to get the blessing and say, I'm behind you. So that's a pretty big move by mom, and I give her credit.
Right. And she was able to make an assessment. And I think even though they went in there trepidatious and worried, what they actually saw was genuine. And she didn't make it about herself. She really made it about whether or not this was going to be good for her son and his future partner. And that's not the case with all the parents, as we will see.
Maybe some foreshadowing as we meet another bub soon. Go ahead.
Wedding?
I'm conscious of the mistakes that were made from my first marriage. That's what I'm afraid of. Like, can he really commit to marriage?
So there it is. We have relationships in the past. We're not going in as virgins, right? And some of us have even been married before. And do we learn from mistakes? Do we learn from experiences? Do we take all of that as information and put it to good use in the future? Or do we rake someone over the coals for the things that have happened in their past? Are we able to move forward and move on?
He's getting the family backing and the sister. I mean, honestly, they're great. They're going to get married. That's my prediction. And all they got is he's a nomad. You know, the music changes and like, all right, a lot of couples move around. A lot of couples like to do that kind of lifestyle. Doesn't mean she isn't, she's opposed to it. So
yeah, that's true. And I think
be nomads together.
Such an important part of finding the right person and making it work is not trying to change them. Like it's not fair. It's also not possible. People can learn and grow, but if you're fundamentally someone who doesn't want to stay in one place for so long, then you need to find somebody who's going to be on board with that.
Right. Wait, transference as well, right? Oh, my dad and my uncles did this for their women in their life, so that's what I have to make sure you do. When did Tom sign up for that? Like, wait a minute. Wait, what? I of course I respect you and we can work out our roles, but that's what she wants. And because her father and uncle, that's what they did. So I need to make sure you do that. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Well, and it's not necessarily an unreasonable expectation, because I think that there's across cultures, in American culture, in European culture, there are people who still think of more traditional male-female gender roles in relationships. But here it is that I feel like there's a judgment that she's like, this is the right way of doing things. And if you don't do it this way, then I can't be a part of this. There's an odd tone to it all.
There's the underlying effect where she was the makeup artist and he was the high-powered PR executive. But still, you can have that discussion. What are your roles? Do you want to work? When you have kids, do you want to work? Yeah. How's our finances? To bring it up in front of the sisters, like my dad, my uncle, this has to be how it's going to go. Like, and Tom's kind of like, oh, we didn't quite have this conversation this hard before. So, yep.
Place.
Yeah.
But I am not 100% comfortable paying someone else's mortgage, if I'm being completely honest.
So It's a little different in England, right? I think she's talking about rent, not mortgage, we'd say in the US. So she's like, I'm not going to chip in for the rent because if we break up, I just paid all that money and I got nothing, right?
I think she is talking about a mortgage.
So, well, same difference in a way. You're not going to pay housing costs, whether it's rent or mortgage, because in 5 years, if we're not married,
Why wouldn't,
what's the logic there again?
why wouldn't, okay, well, so, and this is maybe where a prenup would come in, right? Like if she's putting equity into the home, then it's not unreasonable to expect that she might be able to get that equity back at some point, especially if the relationship ends. But that is, first of all, a private conversation, a weird conversation to have for the first time at dinner with his sisters, right?
Yeah.
But the second part of that is like, where's the problem? So you figure out like what, you started paying on this date. It just seems like math. Like do the math, make an agreement, write it down. Like there's no problem here. They're creating problems where there aren't any.
But she's laying the groundwork for, I don't want to work. I'm staying home with the kids and I'm not paying the bills or even the housing costs. I'm not contributing. So go ahead.
Right. Which is not necessarily, how do you go from happy, like just well-adjusted baby, feeling loved and protected, even though there's been some very early childhood trauma with, whatever circumstances led to her being adopted, to this person today who is so beautiful inside and out, yet deeply insecure and unable to form relationships with people without so much doubt and so much suffering. I find her suffering through this entire series.
Well, we know that cheating has caused her a lot of pain without getting into that discussion about are you a cheater, which we'll have a separate video on. And again, she was adopted at 11 weeks old. And for the length of this show that people have watched, she's used the I was adopted ... It's almost like the but I love you, so I can do what I want to you. She needs attention. I need this. I'm like this. I act this way. And it's always because I was How long are you going to carry that around? How long is that going to define you? What is she, 32, 33? You were 11 weeks old. You're going to carry this till you're 90, that you can act a certain way or feel sorry or be a victim because I was adopted. Like, okay, let's talk about that and set up some boundaries and know that doesn't define you tomorrow. That does not define you anymore. So she's living in the victimhood of that for sure.
You're so right. Her entire narrative has been that there's something wrong with her because she was adopted.
Yes.
Everything has fit into that. So her brain is searching for where she doesn't belong. She's wakes up in the morning with this pain and she's looking for where somebody's going to do her wrong, where she's not going to fit in, where someone's not going to love her, where she doesn't belong. And honestly, at this point, none of this is necessarily even true. It's really just a narrative that she's had for probably the duration of her life. And here's the good news. We can fix that. You can change that narrative. You don't have to live in this, drawing enemy lines and being behind it and everybody's sort of against you in the world. What a terribly exhausting and painful place to be. I have a lot of compassion for Cat. I don't totally understand her story. And, she shoots herself in the foot a lot, but this, she doesn't have to be this way. This can change.
She's self-sabotaging, which she's probably done in other relationships, I guess. And when the whole cheating thing, when he answered honestly and said, I cheated once 7 years ago, it's never been the same since. So that's obviously a deep pain for her. But again, he told the truth. How long does he have to carry that cross on his back? Like, really? You want to find a guy at 33 who has never, ever, even in high school, cheated or kissed a girl when he was going out with another one? Like, there's obviously some stuff there that super insecurities and super trust issues.
Right. So based on this, where do you think they are on the spectrum of will they or won't they?
I think the dad's got some things coming out. And it's funny how everybody who's an elder married person will tell this type of person, it's not easy. It's so much work. Like, oh, good. You go rushing to the altar. You want to get married. And every person who's been married 20, 30 years, still married, will tell you, man, it's hard. It's a lot of work. It sounds great.
There is no lie, though.
Yeah, like, they're not lying. They're absolutely not lying. He's right.
But I loved what he's talking about, how you can't know the outcome. And then Freddie answers with, I want it all to be perfect. And it's like, my goodness, where have we gone wrong where we have sold people on this idea across cultures that you have to find the one, the perfect one, and then somehow everything will be fine. And if it's not, it means it was all wrong.
And why is Freddie's self-esteem? Like, handsome, looks like James Bond, six-pack abs, owns a business, got a sweet heart. And his thing is, I don't know if I'm good enough for her. That's like, you talk about building up your self-confidence and who you are. Like, you're a first round draft pick where a lot of ladies and a lot of people in life, but he doesn't think he's good enough.
I would love to get both Cat and Freddie into Maya. You know, they are lovely inside and outside, and they don't know it. And it's clearly not because there isn't love in their lives. They seem to have beautiful families who've cared for them. I mean, and you know, Kat's other narrative could be that here is a mom and dad who wanted her so badly and went to every length to get her. And unfortunately, they seem to have missed what a lot of us miss and it's the lesson of self-validation. It's the ability to know your worth, that you are worthy because you exist. It's not because you have six-pack abs. It's not because you're sweet inside. It's not because you're beautiful on the outside. It's because you're here. Like, we're here, we exist, we're worthy. I think it would solve a lot of problems if we could all come from that place of security.
Oh.
When you were young,
Now she's worried about unborn children going through a marriage where there's people yelling. She doesn't. How much is she transferring her life right now to this woman, her daughter?
Yeah.
I don't want them to have those memories in their mind. So I want you to be happy.
I am happy.
So there it is. Her failed marriages cause Jasmine pain, and she is not able to forgive herself or
Bingo.
whatever Jasmine experienced as a child.
Bingo.
And anything that Jasmine has not done that is in line with what Marissa thinks is the right way to be is actually Marissa's taking that all on. So, like, of course she wants to be in control of everything. That makes perfect sense in the context of it is all my fault. Well, here's the thing. We are not that powerful. It can't be all her fault. All right, Curt. So if we're to put on our compassionate hats on and have empathy for this mom who, you know, is hard to like. And perhaps that's really unfair because there is pain and there is trauma. And there's also this desire that parents have for wanting their kids' lives to be perfect and to be good. And she's in her, what if this was a Maya parent, what would you say to her about this future relationship with her daughter and son-in-law?
Well, certainly Bobby knew with the word boundaries. He caught on right away what needs to be done, and asking her, her happiness is going to, first of all, she has to forgive and own her part in these relationships that she does not like any men. I mean, going back to the phone book thing from when her daughter was younger, and what was her role? Because that gives you accountability and you can start to work on it. And then what can you do in the future? Like the protective thing, the not letting anything happen, the boxing out everything that could possibly cause pain forever isn't realistic. And it's her journey and you have to support her, not protect her, right? So parents' jobs are not to control your children like she's trying to do. First and foremost, a parent's job is to protect. Second is to guide. You do not control your children's lives like this, especially at this age. So that's going to be a big talk on the call with Maya if she was a client too. So protect and guide. And protection does not mean control. Like she is absolutely going to try to control everything here, as we can see. And you're not your kid's best friend. Never say you're your kid's best friend. You're better than that. A parent is more important. Best friends can change in life. Right. You are their parent. Don't ever try to be your kid's best friend or say you're his best friend. Like that's a mistake right there. It changes your classification with them to something lower. No offense, you're their parent.
Yeah. It also it shares responsibility with them for your feelings, and your kids are never responsible for your feelings. I think the other thing that I would say to Marissa is that she deserves to heal from all this pain, and that she will have a better relationship with her daughter and actually be that supportive guide and be, with the end result being, more effectively protective of her child if she learns to heal. And if she does the work on herself to heal, and if she very least learns that she deserves to heal from the pain that she's experiencing, that she's now projecting onto her kid.
Wow. So beautiful.
It all still feels very surreal.
Good. Can't tell.
Okay, so that's a bit of a 360, 180, whatever it is, turn for her, because all this time she's like, you have to be like my dad, you have to be like my brother. And here it is, like this beautiful moment of no one's ever been the way you are with me, Tom. And it's what I need. Like, it's separating from this family history, this ideal that she's had in her head. And here it is, a wonderful man standing in front of her, unexpected in every way. And I think she's seeing him for the first time.
Yep, and I'm gonna go on. I think they will both say yes because they don't have. He has a little, issue with the money and what roles are gonna be, but they've gotten past the culture part, and I don't. Neither one has a good reason to be like, no, I'm out. So I think these two also actually say yes and give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they do. I really like them together, and all the things that they talked about a little strangely in front of his sisters. Like all of that is stuff that you just need to work out, and to be honest, they haven't had a chance to. So it's all very accelerated, and hopefully they'll get that all out.
Blubbering mess.
And I always want the best for my daughter.
This day here
So
is the big.
They also get married because Bobby's going to have the talk about the boundaries, like he's already said, and say, we're married. Oh, I hope to learn to grow and love your mom, but this is our marriage. And there may need to be boundaries set up on your mom's involvement. And she'll agree to that. And I think they will both say yes to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. What she just said about being whole and complete and at peace with herself before they met, that can't go unnoticed. That is such an important key part of actually even being able to identify and then join a healthy relationship and then move healthily towards it. And what you're saying is that, I think you're right, that they're both healthy, and that if they are both healthy, then they will set those boundaries and make it work and hopefully say yes. Oh my God, all of a sudden I want them all to say yes.
Well, remember though, earlier in the season, she needs someone to stabilize her, was her absolute nails on chalkboard line, I think in episode 3 or 4. I just need somebody to stabilize me. And there we go back to you complete me. Your job is to fix me. Your job is to make me stable. Without you, I'm not. So I'm glad to see the progress and the evolution. And we're about to see the next one that's really had progress and changed as a person.
Biggest day of your life.
I'm sweating and you lot are just making me emotional.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. This is my long shot that you're not going to see coming. The Reddit group may be upset. She says no at the altar to Ollie. Look at the change in her feminine power. Look at the change the mom just said, from the boxing to the footballer to the this. And she's kind of a tomboy. And look at how beautiful and strong she is now. It's almost like a transformation. She has the self-confidence and self-esteem now to know there's something not quite right with Ollie still. The lines and the no touching, and we're not to worry about touching later, and just there's something. Is he playing the show? Is something else going on? I don't think she says yes at this point at the altar. That's going to be my long shot. She says no to him.
I wish for that, because she has had the most growth of any person on the show. It is a transformation. Like, you can't, if this is the outcome, that she comes into her own, that she knows who she is, that she has that self-validation and that sense of worth and that true confidence because of this process, honestly, it's way more important and also everlasting than a relationship. So I'm so happy for her, and it's really been beautiful to witness.
But I think you said it well. Like, I kind of hope she does, because she's grown so much, and I hate to say she deserves better, like all her girlfriends have been telling her for this show, but like, yeah, like, you are a totally different person. You showed up and you were, I'm too fat, and I'm this really tomboy, and maybe he won't like me when he sees me. And now look at her. She is radiant. She is all femininity. She's powerful. She's confident. You kind of do like, dude, she deserves better. I hate to say it. She can do better than you.
But the person that she attracts sitting in her power the way she is now is a different person.
Oh,
it's
totally. He admits, I was club guy. I went for the hot chick. I'm trying to adjust to, you're not the hot chick. But now she is beautiful. I mean, she, look at her change from the first episode.
She's going to attract somebody as healthy and solid as she is. And that's what she deserves, for sure. Well, we'll see.
She is